Hey, this is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to crochet our bulky and quick loopy trees. So I'll be working on our small size tree in today's tutorial, but the pattern does include 6 sizes, all the sizes you see here, right up to a really large size tree. The cones are optional for this design, but I do find they're really helpful for the finger blocking that's going to happen. They also are great to stabilize your tree, but your trees will stand up on your own. These are the size cones that I used. Now I am missing the one in between size. So if we look at my trees, it would be the second largest tree. But doing a search on Amazon, you can find that in between size if you need it. But at my local Michael's, these are the sizes I had. The 4.75 inch by 17.9 inch, 3.8 by 11.9, 3.7 by 8.9, and the smallest was a 2.75 by 6. I was able to find the in-between size here at my local dollar store, and it's a 6.9 by 2.9. You can check at your local craft stores on Amazon or Michael's to find the different sizes. As long as they're pretty close in size, you should be okay. But like I say, you don't need to have the cone in order to make the trees. They stand up on their own once complete. What is nice is if you use a larger cone than the actual tree size, just for finishing touches, it's always good. And I had a bunch of these in my Christmas stuff from other trees I've done in the past. So I started out just using them to help with the blocking process. The yarn that I'm using for this pattern is MARY MAXIM Starlette Sparkle. I love the sparkle effect for Christmas. I think it's really fun and festive and just gives your trees that little shimmer. You also could purchase the solid colors in Starlette if you're wanting it to have more a rustic feel without the sparkle. You could always sub out just for the regular Starlette yarn. There are other substitutes that we've included on the blog and in the pattern if you're looking for some subs. But I want to make sure to mention that to make the trees bulky, we are using 2 strands held together. So you can pick really any worsted weight yarn, hold together 2 strands, and then you're going to get a super bulky weight. Now, if you do choose to use a super bulky weight yarn, you're only going to need 1 strand. So you're not going to have to work from 2 balls like I'm going to show you in this tutorial. Hook size that I'm using is a 9mm crochet hook. Now I suggest starting out your tree and seeing how your loops are looking, seeing how your stitches look. You want to make sure that you have a nice tight loop and tight stitch for your tree. It's just going to make it more stable so that it will easily stand. And you can see here this little tree, how easily it stands up because the stitch is nice and stiff. And with the bulky weight yarn, it does really give it a nice form, and it stands up nicely on its own. I added the little wooden star to the top as well, and I just found these wooden stars at my local dollar store, but there are some on Amazon, so you can just give a search. I did put some links as well in the pattern. And just adding a little bit of hot glue to the top, you can place your star. And I just love, there's different types of stars you can use as well. You could get some more decorative stars. These ones are tinier, so they would be for smaller trees, but lots of different options to give your tree that star on the top. For finishing our trees, I do highly suggest a steamer. It's great for all your crochet projects to have a steamer, so I do highly suggest purchasing one. You could do this project without the steam, but this is going to make it go a lot quicker and really help to get your loops looking their best. I use just a spray bottle to start out. Once you complete your tree, you're just going to spray it down with some water, and then your finishing touch is going to be to add the fabric stiffener, and that's just going to keep your loops in place after all that work that you do to get them hanging nicely Like you see on this tree here, you can finish it off with some stiffening spray and then let your tree fully dry. And so the yarn colors that I chose for my decor is the white gold, the topaz, which we'll be working with today. I'll be showing you how to make this small size tree. Then also ruby and emerald were the other colors that we used for this pattern. So we're going to begin with a magic ring. So I'm going to take the yarn, wrapping it around my index finger 3 times. I'm going to take my crochet hook, sliding it through all of the loops on my finger. I'm going to grab the first loop, pulling it through, and I'll chain 1, and then that's going to get your loop secured. So now what we're going to do is start crocheting in the ring 6 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So then what we want to do is pull the ring tight. So I like to make sure my work is moved out of the way. You're going to take the tail and you're going to start pulling it. Now you're going to see that not all of the loops pull in. These loops are out, these loops have pulled in. So by taking the loops that have pulled in already and giving them a tug, it pulls in those other loops for you. And then you can go back to your tail and give it a tug, and then that will pull tight. So now we have a nice tight circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the first single crochet is here. I like to sometimes just give it a tug so I can get my hook in there to join, because that first stitch can sometimes get a little bit tight. So we're going to slip stitch to join it. Now we're going to chain 1, and you're going to work 6 single crochet again around. So we're leaving the top of the tree a nice tight start. So we're going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch around, and you're going to have 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so you can see that's a nice tight top of our tree, and then you can slip stitch into your first single crochet to join. So now we're going to start into our loop stitches, and we're going to create them by making a chain. So I'm going to start out with a chain of 14. Okay, and now for every stitch, we want to make this loop chain of 14. So we slip stitched into our first stitch here. So what we need to do is work a single crochet through the front loop only of our first stitch. So we're going through our front loop. It is a little tight on this first one because it has the slip stitch worked into it. So we're going to single crochet. Now we're going to chain 14. And we will work a single crochet in the front loop only of our next stitch. It's right here. So going through the front loop only, work a single crochet. So we're repeating this pattern around, chaining 14. and then single crocheting in the front loop only of our next stitch. We're going to repeat this all the way around so that you have 6 loops made. Okay, so I've worked around. We have our 6 loops. We're back to the start. Now, what I like to do is look at, okay, this was our first loop that we worked into. Behind it, you are going to see, so this was our first single crochet. You're going to see the back loops that we didn't work into. So I'm going to go to this first back loop and I'll slip stitch to join to start. I'm going to chain 1. Then I'm going to single crochet around in the back loops only. So now I'm going to shove this tail into the start here so it's out of our way as well. So we've worked in the first, here's the next back loop. And you should be going around 6, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So then we're going to find that first single crochet. If you need to count back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's right here. We're going to slip stitch to join and chain 1. Now we need to start increasing. We want our tree to gradually increase as we go. So we're going to work a single crochet in the first 2 stitches. And then 2 single crochet in the next. Work a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then 2 single crochet in the next. And then we can slip stitch to join. So we've now increased to 8 stitches. We'll chain 1. And now this round, we're going to just work 1 in every stitch around. So no increases for this round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We'll then slip stitch to join, chain 1, and we're going to do another increase. We're going to do all the increases by 2, and we're going to disperse them so that we have 1 on one side, 1 on the other side. If you keep all your increases at one side, your tree is going to end up looking off. So you want to make sure that you evenly place them. So we'll do 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches. Then we'll do 2 in the next. 1 single crochet in the next 3, and then 2 in the last. Slip stitch to join, chain 1. Now if you want a more narrow tree, I suggest this next round you don't do any more increases. So you just do another round without increasing, and you stay at 10 stitches. Now, if we want the tree to be a little bit fatter, we're going to do another increase at this point. So let's go ahead and increase again. So this time we'll work 1 in each of the next 4. and then we'll do an increase in the 5th stitch, and then go 1 in each of the next 4. And an increase in the last stitch. So now we're up to 12 stitches. Slip stitch to join. So we're always going to be working this section between our loops. So you can see our loops come down and they cover. So we don't need to do as many rounds of loops so that, because the loops obviously take up more time and more yarn. So we have some rounds that just have our increasing and then we do the loops. So we're back to another loop round. And this time we're going to have 12 loops because we've gone from 6 up here down to up to now 12. So this will be worked the same way I showed you initially. We just have more loops being made. So start with a chain of 14. And we want to make sure that we do single crochet in that first stitch. And we're going through the front loop only. Chain 14. Single crochet in the front loop only of the next stitch. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. Now, I do want to say that as you get working this, it's going to look a little odd at first. The loops are going to be going. I do find the bulky yarn overworking with one strand definitely helps your loops to not be as crazy looking, but we are going to make sure to wet and finger block our loops. And then we're also going to use a stiffening spray to help keep our loops in place after we go through all the work of creating this. So I'm going to continue now working around, chaining 14, single crocheting through the front loops only. Okay, so I've worked around with all of my loops, and now we're going to, again, take a look at this first loop. You're going to pull it forward. This was our first single crochet in the front loop. So in behind it, you're going to see the back loop. We're going to slip stitch through the back loop to join, chain 1, and then we'll work around single crochets through that back loop, and we'll have 12. Okay, so here is the 12th stitch. We'll then slip stitch in our first single crochet to join, chain 1, and now this round will be an increase. So we're going to work the same increase pattern that we worked at the beginning through this next section. So we end up with 5 rounds in total between our loops. So our first round is that back loop single crochet, no increasing. So now we'll be increasing again. So we'll work 1 single crochet in the first 5. Then we'll work 2 in the 6th stitch. Then we'll work a single crochet in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 in the last. So this will have us increasing to 14 stitches. Can slip stitch to join, chain 1, and then the next round we'll just work 1 in every stitch for a total of 14. Okay, so I've worked around 14. We're going to slip stitch to join, chain 1, and I'll be doing another increase. So last time we worked 5, increasing on the 6th stitch. This time we'll work 6 and we'll increase on the 7th stitch, and that's how the increases will just continue to work. So 1 more stitch before the increase. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 in the 7th. And then we'll work around and increase the last stitch. So chain 1, we'll work 7 stitches. And then increase in the 8th. So I'm going to complete that off camera. Once you get all the way around, we're going to slip stitch to join. And now you should have 18 stitches, so we're going up by 6. So 6, 12, and then 18, and we'll work around our loop stitches again. And like I say, it's going to look pretty crazy to start with. So let's just take a look at the trees that I've already completed. Here is the white with the gold. So this is a fatter style tree, and you can see we have worked a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the loopy stitch rounds. I made the next size down, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the gold tree that I'm currently working on, I will only work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's a little bit shorter again. Now you do want to add your rounds here so that it can go down, and you can see that I have brushed all of my loops down and then I have sprayed it with the stiffening spray. I'm going to continue working on my smaller size tree. So I'm going to end up with 5 loopy rounds on this one. Once I get the 5th loop round done, we'll meet up. We'll just go over the last section together, and you can see how this tree is going to look once I get it all complete. Okay, so I've been working away on the tree. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds of the loop. So I have worked my 5, and then what I started to do, I went on to the next section, which I worked just the same as normal. So the first round in the back loop, I worked in each stitch. I did my increase, and then I did my non-increase, and I'm gonna finish off with 1 more round, and I won't be doing any increases. So I'll work 1 in every stitch around, 1 single crochet. Okay, so I'm finishing off with 32 stitches. I'm going to slip stitch to join. We'll fasten this off and weave in that tail to finish it. So we'll use a yarn needle for bulky yarn. and fasten that off. So next thing I'm going to do, I do find the bulky yarn, it does tend to pull the loops down fairly nice. So you could start finger blocking this, but you can also wet it with a spray bottle, use the steamer, and that's just going to help get everything to lay. Now, like I say, compared to using just the one strand, I find the bulky does tend to naturally come down easier. So you want to get your loops all in position, but I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab a cone to sit this on. I'm going to go over to the sink and I'll do some video clips just showing you how I finish this off. So I'll spray it down with some water, I'll use the steamer, and then I'll spray it with the stiffening spray, and I'll just do a video clip showing you how that's done. So here's the finished tree. It has dried, and the 6.9 inch by 2.9 inch cone is perfect for the height of this tree. And I'm going to add a little star to the top of this tree as well. So I have my glue gun heating up. So I'm just going to add some glue to the star, and then I'm just going to stick it to the top. And that's optional, and you can find whatever type of star. As we get closer to Christmas, there'll be more options in the dollar store. I'm going to check for you also on Amazon to see if I can find any that you can order off season. But my dollar store was carrying these now, so make sure to check out your local stores to see what you think. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell to stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Make sure to check the description box below the video for all of the links. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.